I'm Rob Wheely, and I'm the CEO of Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. We're the world's largest provider of wheel refinishing, remanufacturing, and wheel replacement. My dad was a car enthusiast, always working on cars of his own and new projects. That passed down to me, and it still grows with me today. Wheels have become the jewelry of the car. People want their wheels to look nice. We provide basic refinishing of wheels. We have remanufacturing facilities that provide extensive repair. We also have put all of our processes through an independent facility that's accredited. You can find those certifications on our website. We do it all. You bring your wheel to us and we'll figure it out. We strive for not just customer service experience, but customer excellence. We want to wow them so they come back each and every time. All of our technicians are trained and certified. We even have a master training course. It's important to love what you do. It's important to make employees feel a part of the team, and they're seeing the same rewards as you do. That's what helps us accomplish our goal. Everybody's our customer. The retail public, dealerships, body shops, insurance companies, warranty companies. We have a claims department. We're the ones that they call to come in and repair it. So if you find yourself in need of wheel refinishing, wheel repair, wheel replacement, or if you just want to custom color your wheels, give us a call. We'll help you find the right location, or you can go to our website. There's a locator on there to find the location closest to you.
Hello everybody, welcome into Phoenix, Arizona. We're at the famous Phoenix Raceway here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Drivers now getting on the grid. We are getting ready to go. Before we get into everything, actually before we get into your race info tonight, let's get to your starting grid because it's going to be a pretty fast pace lap and we're not sure if these guys get to do two or not. Your pole sitter tonight, starting in first place, is going to be Carl Dotson in the 29 car. Second, Austin Fitzgerald. Third, Brian Watson. Fourth, Tyler Marble. Fifth, Brian Curry. Sixth is going to be Nicholas Isaacs. Row 4 will be Danny Gutierrez and Cody Richardson.
Only one lap.
Ninth is going to be Alan Pajari. 10th, Andrew Nieder. 11th, Cody James. 12th, Brian Conklin. Went back down. 13th, Sean Kaltenbach. 14th, Kyle Oakley. 15th, Tracy Powers. 16th, Joshua Watson. 17th is going to be Jeff Marble. 18th, Scott Naisla. 19th, Cody Matthews. Ryan Shiro. 20th. 21st, Jared Bundy. 22nd, Jeff Shutt. 23rd, Johnny McCallcheck. 24th, Richard Elliott. 25th, Bill Benedict. 26th, Glenn Grigsby. 27th, Andy Tico. 28th, Andrew Kotska. 29th is going to be Patrick Steen. 30th, Dave Sanders. 31st, Jeffrey Souza. And 32nd, Todd Shiro. 33rd, Matthew Gearinger. And 34th, Cody Graham. Here we go. Green flag is out. Boy, that was a mouthful to get, but here we go. We are racing at Phoenix. And off to an early lead. Wow, Austin Fitzgerald is actually going to take it right away from Carl Dotson. He wants to waste no time. Getting himself out in front is the name of the game here, and we're going to have to talk more about it because I'm telling you it's going to be very important. Fuel, not going to be the issue tonight. What is, though, is tires. Tire wear has been a problem, and yellow flag is already out. We must have trouble further back. Looks like this is going to involve Todd Shiro somewhere. Still looking for him right now. Here he is. In the 3-car, no damage that we can see yet on the back. May have been an innocent spin. Cody James in the 21 may have also been involved. Let's see what brings out the first yellow on the first lap here at Phoenix. And this is, oh yeah, it's going to start a little bit further back. Let's get a bit of bigger camera angle here. We'll take you to the blimp. And traffic gets tight here. Oh wow, this is a lot further up. So hold on, this is going to start up there. It looks like Andrew Nieder and Cody James actually. And they're kind of wadding up here before we even get to the turn. It looks like, oh, the 21's getting in there way too hot. And he's going to get up into the 36. Andrew Nieder, that slides him around now. Cody James, Brian Conklin, Kyle Oakley Those guys nowhere to go, and now the 36 loses it, gets back up into Cody James, the 36 in the wall, so is the 21 of Cody James. So, I'm not sure if Todd Shearer actually got involved. No, he didn't. Sure enough, he just slowed down and got through it. That's why it showed us that he was the one. So this is going to be a little bit of damage to a couple of these cars, but these things are built like tanks, so I don't think they're going to have to worry too bad. We'll give you one more view of the incident here. Back this up a little bit more. See, this is just guys maybe going for a little too much too early here, but that's what it's going to take if you want to win here in the desert. You got to get as much as you can get on these restarts. Maybe a little bit too much there, though, from Cody James. Andrew Neidhart, man, he almost had it collected, too. Kyle Oakley. Good thing is they weren't quite up to full speed just yet, as they had just got into the first turn from the restart. So the damage should be pretty minimal. I think all those guys will be able to get back out on tracks. We see Todd Shearer on 29th, still sitting in pit road, just ready to make his way out. Your current top 5, Austin Fitzgerald, boy, he stole the lead from your pole sitter quick, didn't he? Carl Dotson is now in 2nd. It's going to be Tyler Marble 3rd, Brian Curry 4th, and Brian Watson 5th for JBRE Racing. I'll tell you who I thought we would see up here by now, but who we haven't. This man has been so dominant the last few weeks, and that is Joshua Watson. He currently sits 11, but then again, he is already up 5 spots from where he started, so we'll be watching him these next couple restarts. Let's see, we are not going to get the one to go signal this time, so this gives us a good chance to go over your race info, as we were kind of rushed there for the grid with how short the pace lap here is at Phoenix. As we talked about earlier, we are at Phoenix Raceway, the new configuration now, of course. Back in the old days of NASCAR, the dogleg wasn't a thing, but it is now, and it's that giant shortcut that you'll see guys taking advantage of all day on the front stretch. We might see 4 and 5 wide through it. The track itself is just over a mile long. Track temperature is just over 100 degrees, sitting at 104. Temperature outside, however, a little cooler at 78 degrees, humidity 25%. We have partly cloudy skies, 9-mile-per-hour wind, a little bit faster than what we're used to seeing, but shouldn't affect these guys too much. It is the Phoenix Spring 150. We are in the Cup Series. The event tonight, 156 laps. We have already ticked off just about a handful of them. 100% fuel is always 3 sets of tires, which is going to be important tonight because these guys are going to be using up all 3 of them, no doubt about it. No fast repairs. It is open setups and 3 green-white checkers if we happen to need them, but I'm hoping these guys won't need to use it. Got a little messy here early. That's something we haven't seen in the last couple weeks, but, that's what you expect, right? First short track of the season is we're going to see pace lights go off this time. Everybody trying to feel out for it, and sometimes cold tires, you're just not used to them. But I want to go over real quick. The guy that I was watching in practice was Carl Dotson the most, and the reason I kept my eye on him is because he came out of nowhere, put himself on the top of the board, and nobody was able to put anything to him in terms of raw speed. But a long runs here at Phoenix, compared to some of the other tracks, is really going to make or break. You have got to save your tires here. The fuel window, these guys can make it to about 90 laps, but let me tell you, the tires sure as heck can't, so they're not going to be able to wait that long to pit. But if you save your tires, not only can you maybe go in a little bit later, stretch these runs a little longer, but you can also maybe have a little bit of a faster car towards the end of that run. Brian Curry, probably the biggest winner of last week, although he didn't win the race, played a heck of a strategy and held some guys off. Restart zone is active tonight, by the way, and Austin Fitzgerald is rolling in to it here in just a moment. There it is, the Geico restart zone. We are back under green here at Phoenix. And watch, everybody's going to dive below this yellow. As they all go, they're going to fan out. Let's give you a big view of it here if we can. Further back, some of them get 3, no 4 wides just yet, but as the day goes on, restart's going to get more and more important. Taking a ride on the gearbox here of Austin Fitzgerald. He likes what he sees in his mirror, and that's a ton of racing, but it is a mess here off of turn 2. Everybody's still trying to sort it out. Looks like Sean Kaltenbach and Joshua Watson running in the front of the scrum. I'll tell you what, looks like Brian Watson has found some speed here early in the 04. We haven't seen him as much as a couple of his JBR E-Racing teammates the last couple weeks, but he's been still pretty consistent. Danny Gutierrez, you can see him there running that high lane a little bit further back in the 08 car, and yellow flag is out again. Must have some more trouble. Oh, the 21, Cody James, is around again. Not sure if this is going to start with him, but it looks like he is involved yet again. Oh, and actually, it looks like Jeffrey Souza was involved in this one as well. Back this up to see how this thing's going to start. Oh, this starts way ahead of Cody James with Jeffrey Souza, so this is going to be a little bit of an odd one here. This is on the straightaway. Oh, no. Yikes. And I'll tell you what, that was one of those things where I'm surprised nobody got that a lot worse than they did. It looked like Souza lost it. You know, this isn't a very abrasive transition right here. Watch this. We'll go to his cockpit view here. He was trying to cut the dog leg, but it is not a very smooth transition. There is some banking there, and it looked to me like he just lost it, but let's listen here. Back tires may have came off the ground and just spun. Sure enough, man, look at him work the wheel, though, as he was able to keep it not only out of the field, but also off the wall. He did have a very, very close encounter with somebody. Not sure if it was Bill Benedict or what, but then Cody James is going to get even a little closer. Oh, that is going to be Bill Benedict. Wow. Boy, that got too close for comfort. Watch this cockpit view here. Man, oh man. Close call, and then we're going to see an onrushing Cody James right here. He was able to avoid the initial contact, but then, you know, kind of spun after here. Looks like he actually darted out behind a car right here. Oh, so he may have gotten loose as well. And then once he got down there, he sees a Jeffrey Souza that spun out. So he's going to also try to dodge it. Gets himself a little out of shape, locks it down. No contact with the wall, but man, sliding that much this early for Cody James. Not looking good for his tire situation. Let's go back live, where we have had our second caution here in the first 10 laps. Very unusual. We're not used to seeing that here in the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. But up front, it's still going to be Austin Fitzgerald leading second, though now. Tyler Marble has stolen it from Carl Dotson, who runs third. Brian Curry fourth. And Brian Watson rounding out the top five. But let's go back a little farther in the field here, give you the running order as it goes. Cody Richardson is just out of the top 5 and 6, up 2 spots from where he started. Sean Kaltenbach back here in 8th. Danny Gutierrez 9th. And sorry, I did forget to mention Joshua Watson in 7th. Alan Pajari 10th, Auto Club winner. And that was one of the Hollywood finishes that we've seen so far this season. I think we're going to see a lot more of those. Maybe see one tonight. Scott Naslin 11th, Tracy Powers 12th, Jared Bundy 13th. Jeff Marble 14th, Johnny McCallcheck 15th, Brian Conklin 16th, followed by Richard Elliott in 17th, Ryan Shiro 18th, Andrew Kotska 19th, and rounding out the top 20 right now it's going to be Bill Benedict 21st, Glenn Grigsby 22nd, Nicholas Isaacs 23rd is Patrick Stein, 24th Andy Tico, 25th Jeff Shutt, 26th Todd Shiros, 27th Dave Sanders, 28th Cody James, 29th Andrew Nieder, 30th is going to be Jeffrey Souza, who we already saw and just involved in that last incident. Matthew Gearinger 32nd. Kyle Oakley, one of the biggest guys going in the wrong direction right now. He is down 18 spots where he started. We saw him involved in that first incident. Cody Matthews in the 10 car also down 14 spots from where he started. And Cody Graham did leave the race before it actually even got started. And so that makes us a 33 car field that started tonight. And some of you out there watching maybe think, well, that seems a little smaller. Well, that's just because a couple of these drivers have been out this week on vacation. I think we had a handful or so that aren't here. We should see them back in the next week or two, and we're excited to get them back. But here we go. Austin Fitzgerald, Tyler Marble making up this restart. The bottom, I feel like here at Phoenix more than anything is the place you want to be for the restarts because of that dog leg. And, I mean, you saw, let's go to the blimp cam for this one, and you'll see just how much these guys spread out. It gets really wild. Look there at Brian Watson, whose teammate Joshua Watson now is just behind him, and Cody Richardson having a really, really strong run tonight. We'll see if he can continue to work his way to the front. Here we go, back into the Geico restart zone. The green flag flies. Ooh, Tyler Marble got a pretty good jump on Austin Fitzgerald here. They're going to be side by side. You see the 74 dive down low. He's cut the dog leg. He is going to just about get clear. Now he does as they dive into turn 1. Further back, 3 wide. Oh, there's contact. Brian Curry's going to go around into the wall. It looks like he holds on to it, but he is going to get some damage from it. And they are still all scurrying for positions right now. The O2 Richard Elliott's going to go by the 37. Brian Conklin, he just gets clear. The 15 to Jeff Marble, Johnny McCallcheck. They both got by it okay, but that could be some damage. Looked like they got 3 wide and somebody made contact. Brian Curry, he looks to be okay though now, but that's going to hurt him. He really is probably going to need a caution now. He wants to recover from it, but Austin Fitzgerald's looking to pull away here from Tyler Marble. Carl Dotson 3rd. That does move Brian Watson up to 4th, and Joshua Watson, his teammate, in 5th, up 11 spots from where he started. Sean Kaltenbach, he showed some speed last week at Las Vegas as he's going to go by Cody Richardson on the inside. And there's a camera angle for you right there. Show these guys as they get really, really wide going through that dog leg. There's a couple different lanes that you can work in turns 1 and 2, which is looking pretty good so far. We haven't seen anybody, at least anybody that's running up front, really get any chance to try that absolute upper lane. But we have certainly seen guys run in the middle and a couple guys maybe getting a couple tires below the yellow. And remember, it's going to be at most probably 70-ish, maybe a couple more laps on a tire run. But those early cautions changed up the strategy for some of these drivers a little bit. You can look here at Ryan Shiro, last week's pole sitter. Or sorry, Auto Club pole sitter rather, excuse me. We're going to be taking a look at points later, but Austin Fitzgerald continues to lead. Tyler Marble, though, not letting him pull away, continues to put the pressure on him. Let's see if he thinks about making a move. He's not going to run the same line. In fact, it looks like, oh yeah, that 74 looks a little tight right now. You see the 48 was so much better in the center that time, was able to really roll it. He gets off, and the other thing this is hurting with the 74 doing that is those tires are going to go away a lot quicker for Austin Fitzgerald. Tyler Marble has been one of the most consistent long-run drivers that we've seen so far throughout the season. A couple of these other guys, such as Joshua Watson, Sean Kaltenbach, showed a lot of speed last week. Joshua Watson, of course, did get the win. Alan Pajari has himself a win. He was trying to continue off that momentum last week. Couldn't seem to quite find the pace of the leaders. But a solid top 10 car, though, nonetheless. Scott Naslin. Cody Richardson has moved back a few spots since that last restart. He is down to 9th right now, still staying inside the top 10, so he's not too worried just yet. Might be saving a little tire, just playing it conservative. And we really have not seen anybody, and if you ever notice in the actual NASCAR races, they don't really take the dog leg every time. Kind of can tear up the cars over a long run. Here in iRacing, when you're not really worried about that as much, we are seeing these guys take the dog leg just about every time. We'll cut the lap times down by a lot, and if you're going to catch the guy in front of you, you're going to have to try to go just a little bit lower than him in the dog leg. And let's ride on board here. Danny Gutierrez, he cuts this dog leg. And you hear it there. The bottom of the car, the underling of the car, if you will. Oh, and he gets into Cody Richardson. Oh, man. Cody holds on to it. Wow, that was a pretty wild save for the 46. Man, Danny Gutierrez maybe getting a little aggressive there. And this is something else you're noticing now that they can do here at Phoenix. They couldn't do at other tracks, and that is downshifting. Danny Gutierrez gets down to 4th. In fact, let's bring up the dashboard for you so you can see it. You see he's in 4th. He's going to shift back up to 5th here on this long straightaway where they get up to just about 160 miles an hour. Down to 4th, and I think as the run goes on, we may see some guys even get down to 3rd. And then he gasses it back up. You'll see him pull it back into 5th gear on the backstretch and then down into turn 3. He's going to go back into 4th again. Let's ride on board with your leader to see if he's running a similar shifting pattern or if he's doing something different. This is Austin Fitzgerald. You see he's going to get into the corner here. No downshift yet. And he is not. So that's a little different there. You see your leader is not downshifting. We were just riding on board there with Danny Gutierrez. He was downshifting, and it looks like he's not going to downshift in turns 3 and 4 either. Different approaches. Tyler Marble sitting just back. Let's see what he decides to try, and I think it's so different because the longer we go on these tires, they're not going to be able to really get in the throttle as early as they want because the back end is just not going to stick. You have to be really, really smooth out of the corner on it. But man, Tyler Marble really closed the gap right there. Seems like Austin Fitzgerald was a little bit better here in 3 and 4. But boy, Tyler Marble was smoking him in 1 and 2. And we'll see if Austin can find a way to take away his line or try something. But right now, that 74 has got to be feeling the heat from the 48. And we'll hold it up here for a minute before we go check on the rest of the field because these two are battling out right now for the lead. 23 laps in of 156. And Carl Dotson seems like maybe being a little bit more patient than he was last week. And what I mean by that is we saw a lot of speed at him actually the last couple weeks, but it seemed like he had been having an issue with maybe burning up his stuff just a little bit too early. You see it back there. It doesn't look like he's really pushing that car more than it wants to go right now. And that might pay dividends to him later in the run. These guys are shifting up the track a little bit. You see they kind of run an arc, get into 3 low, move up to the middle, and then they dive it back down out of the turn. If you can make that high side work in 1 and 2, you can really get a lot of momentum. I don't think we'll see many people running the high side in 1 and 2. As Tyler Marble just trying to find some kind of air to get on the nose of that 48. It's not working. And while these two continue to try to sort it out, let's go check back in the field where it looks like Kyle Oakley is pulling back into his pit stall after incidents early. You see some of the right side damage on the door of that 17 machine. Cody Matthews runs 32nd, down 13 spots from where he started. But he looks like he is getting ready to make a pass as he is a lap down. And no, he's just going to keep falling right now, actually. Andrew Niedert in 31st. We saw him involved in an incident early. He does have pretty significant right side damage. Matthew Gearinger 30th. Richard Elliott 29th. Patrick Stein 28th. Todd Shiro 27th. Bill Benedict, boy, he had a near miss with Jeffrey Souza. And he sits in 26 right now. Glenn Grigsby's having a pretty good run so far, all things considered. Last couple weeks have been rough for this 64 car, but it looks like finding something a little bit here early at Phoenix. He's going to go try to stick to some of these other guys. Remember, Glenn is one of those drivers. He doesn't have a team. So it's not as easy for him to come out here with an automatically fast setup. He's got to try to figure it out himself. Comes out here with no teammates, has to make his own strategy and also execute it. 77 of Dave Sanders. That's one of the Mad Sim Racing drivers. He is just behind Jeffrey Sousa, who we saw have that spin earlier. Looks like he is recovering rather nicely so far. Jeff Shutt in 27th. Same spot as where he started. Cody James, who has been in a couple of the incidents so far early, is currently down 10 spots from where he started, just behind Andy Tico, who was up 7 spots. Ryan Shiro in 19th. Brian Conklin, that's one of the Team Marble iRacing drivers. He is in 18th. Brian Curry, who we saw get in the wall after contact on that first lap during this last restart. It looks like he hasn't really been able to cover so far, and he is still sitting in 17th. Nicholas Isaacs, Jeff Marble just in front of him. Jared Bundy, 14th. Andrew Kotska, 13th. And Johnny Mikulchek, he looks really fast in the 72 as well tonight. It's almost like we're seeing a little bit of an inversion of what we've seen in the past couple weeks. We've got guys up here that we didn't really see up here the last couple weeks in the 72 for No Excuses Racing. Johnny has really started to turn it up so far. I think we still have, I'd say we got to get through that first pit stop or two before we can really tell who we think the winner's going to be, because there's just so much that's going to change. And if we see a long green flag run here, it's going to be absolutely brutal at Phoenix. You cannot make a mistake. If you spin or just speed in pit road, that is going to cost you your whole day, as speeding penalty is guaranteed to put you one, if not a couple laps down here. Cody Richardson in 9th. Looks like he has settled down after falling a couple spots. He is feeling the heat right now, though, from Tracy Powers, who runs 10th for Power Esports. Sean Kaltenbach for Team Watson Racing, currently sitting in 8th. Scott Naslin just in front of him. Alan Pajari, the last car just outside the top 5. And then going into your top 5, it's going to be Brian Watson in 5th. He's got his teammate Joshua Watson in front of him. Carl Dotson for Power Esports in 3rd. It's going to be, but actually he's just going to lose that position right there. Joshua Watson, who really did take advantage of that dog leg right there and used it to almost do like a slide job, except on the straightaway there on the 29 car. Tyler Marble runs 2nd, still trying to track down the leader, Austin Fitzgerald. And your pole sitter, Carl Dotson, I thought maybe he would be able to stick it out front for a little longer, but he just wasn't quite able to. And I'll tell you what, 32 laps into the 156. Let's do a little Phoenix, Arizona, crank it up. Here we go. that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that, as we are now 36 laps through the 156-mile event. And Phoenix, the format for it's a little different, just as your fun fact for the day. The lap here is just over miles, so technically we're running slightly over 156 miles, but just about what it is. The 74 of Austin Fitzgerald continues to lead, and he's looking really solid so far. This is a run that 74 car could really use here, because next week they go into Atlanta. Boy, that's going to be an unknown for sure. Just basically a smaller Daytona, if you will. These guys are going to be going full throttle for most of the run. It's going to be a big drafting track. We're going to see high speeds, a lot of action, and probably a couple big wrecks throughout it. But now the 74 is starting to put a gap, and let's show you the lap times here. Austin Fitzgerald, his last 2 laps, 28.8 and a 28.8. Let's compare that to Tyler Marble, who currently runs second. I mean, you see it there, Austin Fitzgerald running consistently faster. 29s for Marble right now, and he's going to have to try to find a way to pick up the pace, but he's just about to be under some pressure here from Joshua Watson in the 01, who looks like may have another good long run car this week. Speaking of which, as these guys are 38 laps in, this is kind of where we get to that part where we're kind of ticking off some laps, and this is the time we like to get some of these things in. Let's go check out the schedule and point standings after last race. And there you have it. Let's talk about your schedule first. Next week, as we noted, we are going to Atlanta, the Mini Super Speedway. Some people call it Hot Atlanta. Going to be unexpected, going to be chaos. So if you get yourself a win here tonight, you're going to be looking good. After that, we go to Texas, another 1.5 miles. And then it's back to short track racing action with Richmond and Bristol and Martinsville. So that's going to be a triple header short track. And then we head back to the second of the 5 Noble races, Talladega. And that'll be on April 24th. We'll leave the rest of the schedule till we get closer to it. Talking about points, though, after last week, your current leader in points by a little bit of a decent margin is Joshua Watson, sitting at 113. Alan Pajari second. He's also got a win on the season with 99. Then there's Jeff Marble, Tyler Marble, and Richard Elliott rounding out your top 5. Cody Richardson just outside of it. He's actually tied with Richard Elliott. It's going to be Bill Benedict, followed by Andrew Nieder, Jacob Musso, and Scott Naisland. And we will go back now. Full screen live. Austin Fitzgerald continues to lead. Let's go see what battles we got going on. Here's going to be your first one right now with Tracy Powers and Alan Pajari. Not going to be much of a battle, though. Actually, I take that back. It looked like Alan Pajari had the momentum, but you saw the 25. Made sure to cut that dog leg. Kind of stranded any chance of momentum that looked like it had going on. I'll tell you what, it looks like it may have had this under green. I want to check it out. This may have been, this was kind of during the restart here. Let's see if something happens to the 36. Oh, and that is actually engineered. Oh, man, big hit. Yikes. A little surprised that didn't draw a caution, but it was off the racing surface. So that was near that last restart, and that would be why we saw Andrew Nieder fall so far back. Yikes. It's a big hit. It's kind of like Phoenix is a small track, but it seems like anywhere that you can wreck on the track, there's just not really anywhere to go before you're going to hit a wall. You wreck into one of the turns, you're sliding pretty hard backwards to the outside wall, and if you wreck down, like you saw there, you're going to hit the inside wall pretty hard. Cody Richardson has fallen back a couple more spots down to 13th. I think right now he's hoping for a pit stop. Somebody going in the positive direction, though, is going to be Nicholas Isaacs right now. He has gained a couple. Jeff Marble in 10th. Johnny McCallcheck now up inside the top 10, so he has also picked up a couple more spots. And Joshua Watson has taken over that second place from Tyler Marble. That puts him up 14 spots. He is one of, if not your hardest charger of the race. And Austin Fitzgerald continues to lead. The gap right now is about 3 seconds. We'll see if Joshua Watson can somehow start to close it down. Excuse me. As he does start to come up on some lappers here. Austin Fitzgerald, that is. And I mean, look at the track map there. You see the bulk of the field, I would say, right now is on the front straightaway. There's like a second wave that is just now making the way on the front straightaway. As DuPont did say a while ago, I forgot to shout you out. He says, let's go 27. Good to see you here in the chat. Rooting on the 27. And 27, of course, is Jeff Shutt. We haven't talked much about Jeff today, rocking that Capital Auto Group paint scheme. He currently is up 8 spots, though, from where he started, just inside the top 15. And if he can keep up the momentum, he could get himself well inside the top 10 before too long here. He does have Andrew Kotska just in front of him. That is one of those Mad Sim Racing drivers. Jared Bundy up 4 spots from where he started inside the top 20. One of the individual team drivers. And let's go back and check on Glenn Grigsby, who we were noting was doing pretty good so far. And it looks like maybe falling back just a little bit as he is now down 2 spots from where he started in 28th. Cody James in front of him. Todd Shiro in 25th, up 7 from where he started. But up front, the gap still continues to stretch, and this is the importance of clean air, especially as the tire run goes on. Austin Fitzgerald now has it to almost 3.5 seconds here on Joshua Watson, and now it'll be interesting to see, can all of your top, I'd say all of your top 20 even, all go clean on pit stops, because if they don't, they're falling back, and as everybody gets more and more spread out, a caution does become less and less likely. Johnny Mikulchek is going to pick off another position as he goes by Jeff Marble. We'll see if he can next get by Alan Pajari. He is now up to 8th. Jeff Shutt up to 12th. He's gained a couple more spots. Passes Brian Conklin and Sean Kaltenbach. And he's just 2 spots outside of the top 10. We are continuing to put more and more cars a lap down, and that makes it so that even if we were to get a late race caution, we're not going to see that many drivers on the lead lap with a chance at it. And right now, it looks like we currently are sitting at 28 cars on lead laps. We have seen some pit stops, but none from any of your leaders. So I got to believe that's mostly guys that are just having issues. One of them, though, that I don't think is having issues, that this is the part of their strategy, is Carl Dotson, who we saw up inside. He was your pole sitter. Actually, we saw him up inside the top 3 for most of the night, then fell back to top 5. And we'll see how the strategy is going to play out for him. He will be on newer tires early. In fact, let's give you a little bit of a comparison here, excuse me. As look at the lap times here for Carl Dotson. You see there 28.1 and a 27.9, absolutely flying. Compare that to your leaders right now of Austin Fitzgerald, who is running 29. So I mean, if that doesn't tell you the tire fall off, I don't know what will. Over 2 seconds a lap faster right now is Carl Dotson with those newer tires. And that's why I think that strategy for 29 might be a good one to try. At the same time, some of these guys really want to save their tires, and if their car feels pretty good out front, they're going to continue to tick off laps. You will see some of these guys all of a sudden go flying by that 74, as it looks like a couple of them. Maybe going to be Glenn Grigsby and the O2 Richard. That's because they are on new tires. Glenn Grigsby, I don't think he is actually, but the O2 of Richard Elliott, I believe, is. And I mean, you see how much more speed he was able to run there. Kyle Oakley still in 33rd to that contact early. He has not been able to recover at all so far. Carl Dotson in 29th. He is waiting for everybody else to pit, though, and that's where that gap should start to extend out. Let's go see some more battles that we got going on the track right now, as Richard Elliott is going to try to get his lap back right here into turn 1. 74 of Austin Fitzgerald wisely just going to let him have it. Knows he doesn't have the tires to hold him up. Oh, we did see some more pit stops here. Ryan Watson is in pit road. I think a couple more of them are too. Joshua Watson may have already come out of pit road. Let's go to Joshua. He's just now actually getting off pit road. So this is going to be our first pit stop of the night. We are going to see at least one more. I think we might see 2 more, but it's going to depend on how far these guys can stretch their tires. And one thing we could see tonight, depending on what different strategies play out, if we see somebody try to stay out too long, they might blow a tire. That's the 01 Joshua Watson making quick work of Jeff Shutt and Alan Pajari, who on much older tires. It looks like Jeff Shutt maybe tried to take advantage of that as well to go by Alan Pajari. Couldn't quite do it. That is going to switch over your leader now to Tyler Marble for Team Marble iRacing. Tracy Powers second. He's having a good run today for Power Esports. Jeff Marble 3rd. Johnny Mikulchek 4th. Alan Pajari rounding out the top 5. Him and Jeff Shutt continue to battle here off of turn 4. Off of turn 2. Phoenix used to be a little bit reversed. The start-finish line was what is now the backstretch, and the front stretch here is what used to be the backstretch. And Alan Pajari, you see these two aren't diving down as low on the dog leg. The 22 right there, he sure took it low. That is going to be Scott Naslin, and he did pit already, so that's those fresh tires putting in some work. The 27 looks like he might be going in this time. Sure enough, he is. He's going to be followed by Brian Conklin. So Jeff Shutt, Brian Conklin in the 6, as well as on pit road the 6. I'm not 100% sure who that was. I believe that's Jared Bundy, and sure enough, it is. And further back, that looks like the 10 is in pit road as well. That's one of the lap down cars. That's Cody Matthews, in fact. And a lot of times you would think we'd see similar strategies. We don't. Alan Pajari continues to stay out. So does Sean Kaltenbach, Bill Benedict, Andy Tico, Brian Curry. Brian Conklin is your first on pit road, and Carl Dotson now is the leader of the guys that came out of pit road. But Austin Fitzgerald is going to get right back by him pretty quick here. So maybe that strategy not playing out quite as well for the 29. Carl Dodson as he would have liked, as he is trying to get around the lapper of Cody James. And you just see how much more speed the 74 can get off exit. Does Carl Dodson try to block her? I think it's too early for it. I think the best thing he can do is run a generally defensive line. Just try to hold the 74 off as long as he can. Make him use up more tire than he would like to. But he's not going to be able to hold him off any longer. The 74, Austin Fitzgerald, dives way down low to the dog leg. Slides back up, and now he's side by side. All he needed was the quarter panel. And he should have this pass completed here, exiting 2. And it looks like Dotson tries to fight back, but just doesn't quite have the grip to work with that 74 car. That now does move Austin Fitzgerald to your lead car. Back out, Sean Kaltenbach looks like he just now pulls into his pit stop. He is going to get the full service fuel and tires. So fuel is probably not the issue that's going to come down to here tonight, but rather tires. You don't want to blow a tire here, so take a look at Scott Naslin, who currently runs in 5th, up 13 spots from where he started. But I think maybe some of these guys that don't have the best long run car, boy, they'd sure love to see a late caution in this race. This is one of those tracks that you can just make up so many positions on a restart. Ooh, wow. Bill Benedict really high there. I don't think that's the lane he planned on running, because he looked like he got in the marbles, as Ryan Shiro is going to go right on by him in the 20 car. And let's go talk about Ryan for a minute. Currently sits 18th, up 2 spots from where he started. Maybe not the greatest run, but he's shown a couple glimpses of the speed that 20 car has so far this season. And with still a long ways to go, we are not by any means in the home stretch yet. He's got time to still make some adjustments, try to get some momentum going. All it really takes in the Cup Series, or in general in any sort of racing here, is just get yourself some momentum. Once you can get some, you can start to build off it and get better and better each week. And that's what some of these guys have been trying to do. A couple of those guys include Brian Curry. Unfortunately, he got in an incident not of his causing here, and like I said, just not been able to recover. That's that effect of dirty air being behind so many cars. It gets so hard to pass all of them. We're also trying to conserve those tires, as Bill Benedict is the last car to not go in just yet. He currently sits first, and he's got Austin Fitzgerald 4.5 seconds behind him and closing the gap quick. I mean, I'm talking almost half a second a corner, so Bill's probably going to have to go in pretty soon, unless he potentially tried the super early pit strategy. However, I didn't notice him on pit yet. Carl Dodson back to 4th right now. Scott Naslin's going to try to track him down. Brian Watson in 6th. Tyler Marble 7th. And just behind him is his teammate Jeff Marble, who is also the founder of FastTrack Sim Racing. You see it there, FastTrack Sim Racing CEO, the driver out of Buffalo, New York. For Team Marble iRacing, good top 10 run. Tracy Powers in 9th. Danny Gutierrez, the Daytona 250 winner, the biggest race of the season. He won it. So I think if you're the 08, no matter how the rest of your season goes, I know he'd sure like to win himself a championship. But he's got to be feeling like this season was already a success, because he won the Super Bowl of racing, the Daytona 250, the first of the No Bull 5 races. So he also puts himself in position for the payout that comes if you have the best average finish for those No Bull 5 races. We are 62 of 156 laps through this event so far. And we are going to go to commercial break, but we'll stay Ghost Racing Network side by side, so you won't miss a thing. Hello everybody, welcome back to Phoenix Raceway. We thank you for watching here on Ghost Racing Network. You are watching the Phoenix Spring 156 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Your current leader is still Austin Fitzgerald. Joshua Watson runs second, Scott Naisland third, Carl Dotson fourth, and Brian Watson rounding out the top five right now. You saw Brian Curry working to get his lap back. Boy, Austin Fitzgerald's giving him a tough time doing it. So that 28 car showed a lot of promise, a lot of speed early, but after that contact with the wall, man, he has just not been able to really find anything, get anything back. He really needed a caution soon after that, didn't get one. But the hardest hit of the day, if you will, go to Andrew Niedert. We saw get into that inside wall on the front stretch. Didn't draw a caution on that one. But boy, it was a hard hit. Did a lot of damage to that 36 machine and kind of ended any chance for him tonight. Jeffrey Souza looks like he has pulled it off track, so that will retire your first car from the race, at least as of right now. Kyle Oakley is the last running car on track in 32nd. He's got Matthew Gearinger in 31st. Cody Matthews in 30th, Patrick Steen in 29th. We'll go from the rest of the guys from the front because Austin Fitzgerald and Brian Curry are still going at it. This is just to get his lap back. This is not for the lead, but the unfortunate part is if Brian Curry was on the lead lap, it sure might be. He had a fast car in that 28. We hate to see it go like this for him, but we are slowly approaching the halfway mark. In fact, we are just about 8 laps away-ish from it. As you see Cody James in the background in the Rockstar car. He was involved in a couple of the incidents early. The second one he was able to avoid, but wasn't able to avoid the first one, which he got himself involved in. Joshua Watson runs second. Let's see what the gap looks. The gap is actually at 1.5 seconds right now, so through that last pit stop and the way everything cycled out, at least for now, looks like Joshua Watson maybe was the biggest gainer. However, Austin Fitzgerald has continued to stretch it a little bit right now, and if he can continue to stretch it, then it's not really going to be a good enough gain for Joshua. Scott Naisland third, Carl Dotson still holding fourth. And just as I say that, looks like Brian Watson is going to get by him, so that pushes Carl Dotson to 5th, Tyler Marble 6th, Tracy Powers 7th, Jeff Marble 8th, Danny Gutierrez 9th, Nicholas Isaacs rounding out the top 10. Cody Richardson just outside the top 10. He's been running, I'd say, about a 5-car buffer in between, somewhere 7th to 12th, if you will, just about the whole night. Top 10 car, though, I think, for this 46 team, as long as he can get it there by the end. Johnny Mikulchek, who has shown a lot of speed tonight, he currently sits in 12th, but he's shown a very strong long-run car, so we'll see if he can make some of it back up during this run. Andrew Kotska 13th, Brian Conklin 14th. It's going to be Bill Benedict 15th, Jeff Shutt 16th. Alan Pajari, looks like maybe had some issues on that pit stop because he has fallen back to 17th. Jared Bundy in the 6th car currently runs 18th. Andrew Neidard, who we saw make that big contact with the wall, somehow still able to stay inside the top 20. A little surprise, but the 36 car is still putting in a heck of an effort to try to get the best of a finish he can. You can always salvage points as long as you're on the track. Ryan Shiro currently runs 20th. He's got Sean Kaltenbach behind him. Sean, maybe another driver that had some issues on pit road. Richard Elliott in 22nd. Brian Curry 23rd. Cody James 24th. Todd Shiro 25th. Andy Tico 26th. Be Dave Sanders 27th and 28th. Glenn Grigsby. We already talked about the rest, so let's go back up front. The gap does continue to stretch between Austin Fitzgerald, Joshua Watson, and with that being the case, let's go see what kind of battles we have going on around the track right now. And actually, you see it on the track map there. Everybody's pretty spread out. Looks like a little battle here between Brian Curry and Richard Elliott, but Brian Curry with the faster car. Oh, man, that cut a little close, didn't it, right there? That was almost a little bit of miscommunication between the 28 and the 89 of Patrick Stein. They almost made some contact. Luckily, both drivers looking out for each other were able to avoid any. Put the tower back up here now for everybody as we had the running order going for a little bit. And this is continuing to be a who can last the longest, who has the best long-run car. And I think after everybody got cleaned up from those couple of cautions, or everybody was just trying to get a feel for the track, everybody has looked really comfortable. Since then, since Andrew Niedert's incident with the wall, we have not seen anybody actually spin. It has just been everybody racing. We've seen a couple bumps. Boy, I tell you what, Cody Richardson had one earlier where he got a shot in the bumper, somehow held onto it, as Austin Fitzgerald going to try to stay in front of Richard Elliott right here, who's trying to get another lap back if he can, but doesn't look like he's going to prevail. Kyle Oakley, quick note on him, has fallen 12 laps down, so the damage that he had from that earlier incident either must have been a lot worse than we thought, or he is just really, really struggling out there right now. The track is pretty hot, so that is causing these guys some issues for sure. We saw the track temp at the start of the race and was just over 100 at 104. Now it looks to be at 107. And that is why these tires are not lasting long. That is hot. I mean, think about trying to put your hand on a track that hot. Wouldn't be too enjoyable, and it's not too enjoyable for these Goodyear tires either. Partly cloudy skies, wind still at 9 miles per hour. And the temperature, though, has warmed up just a little bit now at 79 degrees. We did start at 78. Let's quick show your weather there. Let's look at the driver inputs here for your leader, Austin Fitzgerald. Actually, and while we do that, let's ride on board with him. Listen how smooth this throttle is. Saw it right there. Very smooth with the wheel. The thing that I noticed most though about the 74 was how smooth he was on the wheel. The less you're turning that wheel, the less tire that you're scrubbing off. And with as much of a tire track as Phoenix is, it's important that you save those tires. Another thing that could be huge here for the 74, if he is able to finish the deal off and win tonight. And earlier I wasn't sure if he necessarily had that fastest car, but as we continue to see him stretch the gap on Joshua Watson, now almost up to 3 seconds, I'm starting to think this 74 might have what it takes, bearing no cautions and no incidents on pit road to finish this thing off. But as we are over halfway, not by much though, so he still does have a pretty long ways to go. What I did want to say though is, you got to remember, the championship, I believe, again, I actually have not checked quite that deep in schedule, but assuming that they are following the NASCAR schedule as it seems they are, the championship race for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series is going to be back here at Phoenix. So if you can somehow get yourself a win here tonight, it means that you know what you're doing, and you got to be feeling pretty good about when we come back here later on in the year for that championship race, as long as you can make the playoffs. But getting a win is certainly going to be a good way to get yourself in that playoff talk. But remember, it's points here. It isn't those winning you're in, things that we see in the normal NASCAR. So these guys have to make sure they run consistent. It's not about having a Superman win or anything of the sort, as we did put a poll out. And let's see what we got here. It looks like we had a great community participation at nobody voting, so we're not going to know whether or not Austin Fitzgerald will get his win tonight or not, as nobody said yes or no. We still thank everybody for being out of here. I hope everybody is enjoying, and if you like what you're seeing tonight, make sure you give us a like. And if you're new, follow Jared Bundy, Sean Kaltenbach. It's a pair that's running 18th and 19th. Brian Curry in 20th. He is starting to make up a couple spots, but he would still need a couple cautions right now, because he is not in the best shape in that 28 car right now. Kyle Oakley still 12 down. Looks like Matthew Gearinger is 2 down. You can see all that on your scoring tower there on the left. In fact, Ryan Curry, though, give him a shout out because he's recovered enough to get back on the lead lap here in 20th. So that puts 20 cars on the lead lap, with Richard Elliott being the lucky dog. Ryan Shiro, the second car, a lap down. Let's go back up front. Austin Fitzgerald continues to lead, has the gap up to 3.5 seconds, though, over somebody that took second, though, away from Joshua Watson. That's Scott Naisland. So all of a sudden, maybe, I don't know for sure, but maybe the 22 will have something for your leader, Austin Fitzgerald. Joshua Watson, though, maybe was trying to push it a little bit more that run. Not sure, but he does not quite have as much speed in that JBR E-Racing 01 Chevy Camaro. Tyler Marble, another consistent run here. This will help him in points no matter what, if he can keep himself inside the top 5 for the rest of this. Tracy Powers in 5th. Brian Watson 6th. Jeff Marble 7th. Nicholas Isaacs 8th. Johnny McCallcheck back up inside the top 10. This is the driver that looks like, man, I'll tell you what, if he could have started farther up in the field, we may have really seen the 72 come to life. Potentially have a shot at the top 5 late in the run. Jeff Shutt 10th. Alan Pajari 11th. Cody Richardson still hanging around in 12th. Carl Dotson 13th. Brian Conklin 14th. Andrew Kotska 15th. Danny Gutierrez 16th. Jared Bundy 17th. It's going to be Andrew Nieder in 18th. Sean Kaltenbach 19th. Brian Curry 20th. 21st. Richard Elliott 22nd. Ryan Shiro 23rd. Todd Shiro 24th, Andy Tico, and rounding out the 25th position out of Altus, Oklahoma, is going to be Cody James. And when will we see the next pit stop here? The 74. I think if I'm him right now, I'm making sure that no matter what I do, I am nice and smooth and conserve as much tire as possible, because he clearly has the car that's the class of the field, and he wouldn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. And part of that means you can absolutely not speed on this next pit stop no matter what you do. If you speed, your race is going to be over. And Carl Dotson, that tire strategy worked out pretty well early, but the longer they go, you see it's starting to hurt him more and more as he's going to dive down to that dog leg here and see if he can maybe get clear one of these guys, but they are still going to go by him on the outside. And the gap is still extending, but this time it's over Scott Naslin, who is now in second. We saw him get by Joshua Watson. And actually, I want you to watch real quick Austin Fitzgerald on this next lap. It's not going to matter right now, but this is what we were talking about with, in reference to that spin earlier that we saw with Jeffrey Souza. Watch this 74. You're going to see some sparks fly here when he first hits this dog leg. I'll show you it here. Watch the sparks. Boom. See him right there. It is very abrasive. I mean, you see there's banking. When he gets back on, that thing hops around a little bit. So it's really important to make sure once you're going down and back up on from the dog leg that you have that wheel nice and straight, so that you have the car under control. Joshua Watson not really under any fire right now from Tyler Marble, who is currently sitting 5 seconds back from him. Tracy Powers sits 2 seconds behind Tyler Marble. He might have a chance at catching him, and Brian Watson is trying to track down Tracy Powers. Jeff Marble, we have seen a pretty consistent top 10 runner so far throughout the season. Nicholas Isaacs, he has jumped on here, and he is making a lot of progress. And that is the EPI driver. Not sure that he has any teammates out here necessarily. Johnny McCulcheck's going to try to get by him next, though, to pick up 9th place. And Jeff Shutt, the 27 car, he is going to see if he can get around the 9 of McCulcheck right here. Alan Pajari, Cody Richardson, Brian Conklin, Andrew Kotska. All these guys kind of in a group together, but we're not really seeing many battles right now. At least not like what we've seen the last couple weeks. But these races overall have kind of all come down to the last couple laps. We've seen a couple guys that have all been able to stick together. Their cars all perform really good up into those final laps. That's where they really get racy, but not the case so far tonight, because from the drop of the green, the 74 of Austin Fitzgerald looked like he has been on rails. He has just continued to pull away from the field. Now has a almost 4.5, actually sorry, a 4-second gap on second place Scott Naslin. And Scott really has not been able to close anything down just yet. I think even if the 74 started to lose time, he's going to be able to pit before he's going to feel any pressure from that 22 car. Joshua Watson, he's going to have to make a couple adjustments if he wants a chance at maybe getting closer to the front by the end of this thing. But each car that Austin Fitzgerald puts a lap down is just going to make it harder and harder for the rest of the field that is also a lap down. Bearing we were to get a late caution, and if we did somehow get a late caution, and if you are one of the only drivers on that lead lap to have a tire set, you might as well call it a victory. You will have this race won. I mean, we saw the fall off. Let's actually check his lap times here, and that'll give you another good idea of it right here. This last lap was a 29.6. Remember the lap times that we were seeing Carl Dotson on fresh tires? They were over 2 seconds quicker than what we're seeing right now. Austin Fitzgerald, as we got one. Looks like Sean Kaltenbach. Not sure if he spun it or is just coming out of the pits. That might have been his pit stop. I think that was his pit stop because he does have the first box. Sure enough, I think it was. But it looks like he has potentially went a lap down from it. And you'll know right here because he's going to hold right side by side with Austin Fitzgerald, or at least he tried to. Once these tires get up to heat, just give him a lap or two. He will quickly track down that 74 and go flying by on those new Goodyear stickers. Alan Pajari still inside the top 10. He's got Jeff Shutt in front of him. And it looks like we may see some more pit stops. Johnny McCulcheck has actually fallen a spot now to Alan Pajari and Jeff Shutt as well. And after this, I think we still might be in for one more pit stop. But it's really kind of going to depending on how long you go here. Are you thinking about one more pit stop? Or do you just... Because these guys have 3 sets of tires. We didn't see anybody up front pit during those first 2 cautions, so they should have 2 sets left. They're going to use one on the pit stop that we're awaiting right now, and then that'll leave one more. And the question there would be, do you come in early here, use it, try to use them up, run really fast, and then go back in and take that last set? Or do you try to stretch this out and maybe somehow set it up to where this is your last pit stop right here? And those tires we did here from practice can go about 70 laps, and that's really, really pushing it for those tires. As Carl Dotson has pit, he's going to try the same strategy. It looked like it worked out initially, but Austin Fitzgerald was able to get by him last time. The 29 has committed to that strategy. We're going to have to see if it pans out. Quick reminder, tomorrow Ghost Racing Network heads over to Ron Morris Money Racing for some Tuesday Night Thunder. Make sure you don't miss on that. The guys take on the Daytona International Speedway under the lights, and they're going to be fighting for a top 5 payout, and there is going to be that championship fund on the line towards the end of the season. There's probably going to be over $1,000. Make sure you come check that out if you're watching with us here on Ghost Racing Network. Field continues to get lapped. Currently, we only have 14 on the lead lap. Part of that is guys that are still cycling through their pits, so there will be more on the lead lap than that once all your leaders do eventually come in and pit. But I'm a little shocked here that Carl Dotson isn't making the ground that I thought he would here, pitting when he did. And Danny Gutierrez, on the other hand, he is going to go right around the 74 on those fresh Goodyears, as they're also coming up on the 28 right now of Brian Curry. And Austin Fitzgerald rolling around that middle line now. It looks like maybe shifted up. That might just be where the car feels a little bit more comfortable at. Right on board with the roll bar here. Did you hear how much he's out of the throttle? One thing, though, that you see he has not changed, and that some of these other guys might be doing, is he is not shifting. We saw some of these other drivers, they were trying the shifting method out. It really just must not be working as well, because Austin Fitzgerald has been running 5th gear from the drop of the green. Oh, now he shifts down to 4th, but that's because he is coming in for his pit stop. We'll ride on board with him here as he gets down to speed. Oh, and it looks like he is going to make it. Pace speed is 45 miles an hour. You see it there on the bottom right. And he is going to make sure he does not run over that, because he does not want to get a speeding penalty. Getting into the box on these old tires, though, is a little tricky, so he's going to have to be extra careful doing it. Pit road here a little different, as it does go around a corner, so you could have a pit box that is actually on a turn, depending on where yours is. Looks like his is going to be towards the end of the turn, maybe on the straightaway, as he did qualify 2nd. Now he pulls into his box. Got to make sure you don't overshoot it right here. And it looks like he executes it perfectly. Going to get rights, lefts, and then he's going to get back out. Let's look at your pit cam. See all these guys coming around now. Looks like Joshua Watson continues to stay out. That is going to make him your current leader. Behind him, though, in 2nd is Tracy Powers. 3rd is going to be Brian Watson. 4th, Jeff Marble. Rounding out the top 5 is Jeff Shutt for No Excuses Racing. Now let's ride on board with somebody else here. In this case, let's ride on board with your leader to see if he is downshifting. In fact, actually, we don't have to ride on board, because he's coming into pit right here. We'll see if that extra lap or 2 that he stayed out can somehow help him catch that 74 who has been so fast all night. Tracy Powers, he is taking advantage of shifting. You see it there. He's going to stay in 4th gear right here. Maybe going to shift down to 3rd. It looks like he is actually running the middle. Didn't quite get to the bottom there in 3 and 4, but he's in 4th right here. Towards the end of the straightaway, he will get up to 5th. At least I thought he would. Actually, doesn't look like it. So he really has this thing set up a little different. So I do want to ride on board with him now. And take a listen to the RPMs. And yeah, he's at the point now where he is just consistently running in 4th. Let's go back here to Alan Pajari to see what he's doing. And that is really interesting. That's the cool thing, though, about these open setups. It's just how different everybody is and how much their setup affects how they drive. And let's see, does Alan Pajari shift up to 5th? No, he doesn't, because you see he's just about topping out at the RPM. Early on in the run, I can promise you they would be, or once they get fresh tires, even as Tracy Powers now comes down pit road. He will take his 4 and fuel. Alan Pajari continues to stay out. He is your new leader. We will go through the field running order once everybody cycles out of pits. They're still working on it right now. Johnny McCulcheck up to 2nd. Austin Fitzgerald has already got around Carl Dotson. This is similar to what we saw last time. And now Carl Dotson's job is to see how many spots he can hold off here for the next 50 laps. And they have ticked by pretty quick so far here at Phoenix. Definitely one of the cool tracks. We just don't see the racing the same way at any of the other tracks as we do here at Phoenix. We saw multiple lanes at Auto Club, We saw not as many as I thought we would see at Vegas, but we saw a couple, but we have certainly seen quite a few tonight here at Phoenix. And the restarts were kind of a treat there. We saw just how wide these guys fanned out, getting everything they could in the dogleg. Nicholas Isaacs just in front of Joshua Watson back here in the 01. Tyler Marble 8th. Danny Gutierrez 9th. Bill Benedict rounding out the top 10 out of Archdale, North Carolina. And it looks like Alan Pajari has come down pit road in the 34 car. That is going to now put Johnny McCulchek as your leader as Brian Conklin and a couple others go flying by him on new tires. And now, how long do you stay out? Is he committing to a strategy here? Or is this just part of the way he had it planned out from the start? He is currently 4.5 seconds ahead of Austin Fitzgerald, but that gap is going to close in a hurry because Austin Fitzgerald is on some brand new tires. Maybe McCulchek, I think he pitted pretty early. He was inside the top 10, so that could potentially be some of it here. But I mean, you see the gap down a second right there in just that half a lap. So the 74 will be there in the next 2 to 3 laps, you have to believe. And when he gets there, does Johnny McCulchek try to jump off the boat and just call it and go back to the pits? I don't think so, because like I said, I'm pretty sure I think his strategy now is going to just stay out, hold as many pitches as you can. And just as I say that, looks like he has not pit because he's going to come down the pit road now. Maybe he was hoping he would somehow get a caution in that little window, but it's not going to happen. He doesn't get one. And it looks like a little battle here between Brian Watson and Jeff Shutt. Brian Watson will take it all the way down low. Jeff Marble also cuts the dog leg, and that's going to work out. He gets right in front of the 27 and shuts the door on Jeff Shutt. Jeff Marble's going to try to get by him next. Tracy Powers is also in this battle. This is currently the battle for 13th, but it is starting to heat up nonetheless. The 04 is going to try to pull away a little bit from it. That's going to make it a battle. 13th now, sorry, was a battle for 12th, but now it's a battle for 13th as the 25 is going to dive below, see if he can get side by side with Jeff Marble. And not quite, but he's really going to dive it in the corner, really leans on the car, and it looks like it's going to stick for him. And there was a great picture of it. I mean, you saw the 3 different lanes. You had the 25 of Tracy Powers on the bottom, and they might go 3 wide. They thought about 4 wide. Oh, there's going to be really, really tight getting into turn 1. No contact is made, though. Jeff Marble slides right up in front of Bill Benedict. I thought they would think about doing 4 wide. Wisely they didn't, but that showed you just how wide this track gets in the turns. I mean, we saw 3 different lanes. The 25 was hugging the bottom. Jeff Marble, one of them in the middle, and Jeff Shutt, the other one up top. I may have those 2 reversed, but the point was it was 3 lanes, each car running a different line. And Tracy Powers is the big winner out of all that. He is going to take over. Oh, no, caution is out. Caution is out. Oh, boy. What happened here? It looks like Carl Dotson. Oh, no, no, no. We're trying to get to him here. Gets back rolling. I can't see a ton of damage just yet. But this is certainly going to damage a lot of guys' strategy. Uh-oh. And let's take a look before we get to that. What happened to the 29 who was having a pretty good run. Oh, it's just going to get loose on him out of 2. Slides down into the dogleg, which is considered the racing surface here at Phoenix. That is why iRacing threw the caution. And this is just a guy getting loose on old tires. I'm surprised we didn't see this earlier. Carl Dotson trying really hard to hold on to it. He just can't, locks it down as soon as he starts to spin. And slides, doesn't get any contact with anybody on the wall, so he should be okay. He's maybe going to have to take a new set of tires. One more view of it right here from the pit cam. And I'm telling you, this is what a lot of guys did not want to see. One of them being Austin Fitzgerald. He knew he was running away with this thing as it stood. But this is just one of those things. And actually, that's right on board in his cockpit, so I can show you. These things are a handful on old tires, and Carl Dotson was probably trying to keep as many positions as he could. Oh, I mean, you see it too. That wheel was really, really straight. Let's see here. Oh, man, that one even has me bamboozled just because of the fact that, I mean, he had the wheel straight. You could hear it. It really didn't sound like he was that hard on the throttle either. And all of a sudden, it just spun around. Once it starts to spin, the tires will start to spin if you're still in the throttle at all. And he locked it down as soon as he can, gets no damage. But there goes the pace car right in front of him. Let's go back live, though, up front. And we are definitely going to see some pit stops, or at least I would have thought, maybe not from your leaders here I thought all these guys would have an extra tire set unless they already did pit and we maybe missed it. In fact, I do want to check. Actually, never mind. We'll scratch that. Let's just keep it up here where your top 5 as it runs is Austin Fitzgerald, Scott Naisland 2nd, Joshua Watson 3rd, Tyler Marble 4th, Danny Gutierrez 5th. And let's go about your top 10. Why don't we? Andrew Niedert 6th, 7th is going to be Jared Bundy, Brian Conklin in 8th. It's going to be Brian Watson 9th, and Tracy Powers inside the top 10. And this is going to change a lot of things up because I'm telling you, Austin Fitzgerald 100% had the fastest long run car, but now with cautions, sometimes cautions breed cautions, and we might all of a sudden start to see some short runs. We see that. That could certainly change some things up. We'll have to see here. Austin Fitzgerald, though, has been the class of the field so far tonight. We'll see if he can hopefully keep it that way. And we're actually looking here. I was going to see if maybe try to dial up one of these guys that are up here. And I don't want to get anybody that is potentially too focused here, and we might get started before I actually have a chance to. But I'll tell you what, let's pull up Scott Naisland, why don't we, here? Get an interview, or see if we can dial him up at least. Hey, Scott, it's Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, I had you a little loud there, but I'll tell you what, man, the 74, he looks like he's on rails tonight. Looks like the class of the field. What's going to be the game plan here to beat him?
I'm actually worried about all the cars that got fresh tires right now. I think I'm a little better on the long run, but it's going to be real interesting on this restart and see how things go.
It's going to be very interesting. I'm sure we're going to see you guys going 4 and 5 wide down in the dog leg. We'll let you go to get ready for this restart, and we'll put you back. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
And we'll get ready for this restart. I think I moved Scott to the wrong room, so I'm going to have to apologize him after. But green flag is back out. Here we go. Watch these guys fan out. Everybody wants the track position. The 01, Joshua Watson, he's going to try to dive below the 74. He is not quite going to be able to get there. Austin Fitzgerald holds off the charge. Everybody working into turn 1. You hear it there. It's fresh tires further back, so there's going to be a lot of guys trying to get to the front as soon as possible. Everybody looking for positions right now. You see them all diving into turn 3 and 4 here. Everybody is still fighting for everything they can, and they're going to all dive down this dogleg again. Watch up front, though. It's still a 3-car battle further back. Everybody still has not sorted out. They're jockeying for position. Cody Richardson looks like he has actually somehow stayed where he is. I thought he would fallen back for a second, but he is not. Nicholas Isaac's fine, and there goes Jeff Marble around the outside. We'll see if some of these new tires can make it up in enough time to get in front. Now let's go back up front where Austin Fitzgerald is trying to hold off Joshua Watson. He's going to have to do it for about another 38 laps. Joshua Watson, he's got a little bit of a run. He seems to be a little bit better on entry, but Austin Fitzgerald seems to be better on exit. And you see it there, rolls right up to his back bumper. This time the 01 stays a little bit closer, though. Joshua Watson's going to, oh man, he thought about it. He looked for a dive. He thought he had it. Realized maybe he wasn't quite going to make the corner, so he's going to actually bail out of it. And looking for some of these guys that are on new tires. Jeff Shutt, Tracy Powers, Danny Gutierrez, all continuing to try to make up some positions. I believe Jeff Marble might be one of the first ones on new tires. I'm not 100% sure. But you heard Scott Naisland said he was more worried. He said he thinks he had a better long-run car actually than 74. And as I say that, guess who got around finally? It's going to be Joshua Watson, your new leader. Austin Fitzgerald had a good long-run car, so if they go the rest of the way, the 74, though, he doesn't want to wait till then. He's going to go for it now as he dives all the way down to the bottom. Can't quite get back to the 01. And now he's going to be under fire from Scott Naisland into 22. Joshua Watson, it seems like even if he doesn't have the best car, he finds a way, doesn't he? Here he is back out in front. And I think he's led a lap just about every week so far. Definitely is the leader in terms of laps led so far in the season for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. But we are slowly approaching 30 laps to go, and that is not that long here at Phoenix, only about 30 miles. And Austin Fitzgerald, I think he's got to be careful here. I know he wants to get back to that lead, but he really, really does, I feel like, have the car to win it. He's got to be patient, though, here. Let's take a listen to see if he's trying to overuse his stuff at all. You see, it looks like Joshua is actually getting in and stuff a little bit hotter into the corners right now. What I did notice, though, there in turn 1, and again, this could just be how he likes the way his car is handling all day, but it looked like Austin Fitzgerald maybe ran a little bit more of an offensive take into turn 1. I think he's got to be careful doing that because that can really scrub those front tires, which have already been used a decent amount, and you're going to need those for the end, but he has continued to work it down low on the front stretch. So has Scott Naisland, who has continued to stick around in this battle. It's a little farther back where Brian Watson is trying to get himself up to 4th, and sure enough, he is going to take it from the 48 of Tyler Marble. The 48 is going to fight back off of turn 2. Behind them is the 25, Tracy Powers. Jeff Shutt, he's in a battle right now with Andrew Niedert, who, wow, has had an amazing recovery. Up in 8th right now after we saw him with that pretty big hit to the wall earlier. I mean, you can still see some damage on the right side of that 36. This is probably the comeback of the race right here. Johnny McCulchek as well is having a heck of a night, and he currently sits, actually, did he have Johnny McCulchek in 18th right here, racing 27 of Jeff Shutt, but did Johnny have a penalty here because it's kind of looking like maybe he went a lap down or something potentially. And yeah, sure enough, he did, so not sure what happened in 72. Actually, he may have gotten trapped when the caution came out. I'll tell you what, I think that's what happened. We saw him pit, and the caution came out just after for a spinning Carl Dotson. Austin Fitzgerald continues to run second, but now Joshua Watson, first time he's been out in clean air so far today, and it looks like he's taking advantage that he is slowly starting to stretch the gap now a little bit. Has it up to just about half a second with 30 laps to go, about to be 29 now. And with those 30 laps remaining, we're going to take one more quick break so we can set up everything for the finish, and we'll be right back as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody. 26 laps to go here in the duel in the desert at Phoenix Raceway, where your current leader, Joshua Watson, has now stretched the gap out to just under a second over Austin Fitzgerald, who had been so dominant before that caution came out, and I bet you it was the thing he did not want to see. And with 25 laps to go as Joshua crosses the line this time, he is really starting to potentially run out of time. He's got to find some speed in that 74 soon. Let's go through the running order in the field. Scott Naisland currently third, up 15 spots from where he started. We did interview him during that last caution, and he said he was more worried about some of these guys on tires than he was. Thought he had a good long-run car, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to really show it. Tracy Powers, boy, here he comes. He's got a head of steam, and I don't know, but with the gap right now, this 25, maybe he's got something for the leader. Same deal with the 04 of Brian Watson. Carl Dotson back here. We saw him spin on that last caution. He was able to recover from it. Still sits in 6th. Nicholas Isaac 7th. 8th is going to be Jeff Shutt. Tyler Marble 9th. 10th, Sean Kaltenbach for Team Watson Racing. Jeff Marble 11th. Andrew Niedert 12th. Going to be Brian Conklin 13th. Cody Richardson 14th. And Cody was not did not get all he wanted, if you will, I guess I should say, on that last restart. He does have a couple of guys right in front of him here to pass. We'll stay on this battle for just a second. And if he can get around those two, he'd get himself right back up to where he's been able to be consistent all day, and that is around that top 10 area. Looks like he's not quite able to get past, but they are going to go 3 wide. It's further back. Dave Sanders has a heck of a run. Almost 3 wide, at least. Looks like 77 couldn't quite get there. Danny Gutierrez in 15th. Bill Benedict in 16th. Jared Bundy 17th. Johnny McCulcheck 18th. Alan Pajari 19th. Andrew Kotska 20th. 21st, Cody James 22nd. Brian Curry. Richard Elliott 23rd. Ryan Shiro 24th. Todd Shiro 25th. Dave Sanders 26th. Glenn Grigsby 27th. 28th is going to be Andy Tico. Patrick Stein 29th. Cody Matthews 30th. 31st, Kyle Oakley. And he's going to be the last car currently running on the field. 32nd is Matthew Gearinger. 33rd, Jeffrey Souza. And 34th, not starting the race, was Cody Graham. Joshua Watson does still lead the way. The gap is now a second. Tracy Powers, though, has moved up to third, and he is closing, so watch out. If he can get past Austin Fitzgerald here relatively soon, he may have a shot, but he is still a second back. I'm telling you, though, I think this 25 has a chance. He seems to have found some speed. Austin Fitzgerald, on the other hand, got to be thinking what happened. Had the the best long run car all night. He was able to hold him off on the short run early, but that shows you the power of clean air, and Joshua Watson just seems to be a little bit better on this late restart with those older tires. 20 laps to go, though, here at Phoenix. And we will show you the track map one last time, as we will also check from the blimp cam here to see if we can kind of show you the closing distance. Tracy Powers, Johnny McCulcheck, of course, is not on the lead lap, and boy, if he was, that 72 really picked up that speed. The unfortunate part here about when that caution came out is that it put a lot of guys that have been pretty fast all day, such as Alan Pajari, Johnny McCulcheck, who were on the lead lap and had just pitted just after they got lapped was when that caution was thrown, so they didn't get that chance to get their lap back before the caution was thrown. And that has just made it really rough. Tracy Powers, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's really closing that gap anymore on second place, so I don't think he's going to have enough time to have a chance at the leader if that's what he was hoping for. Joshua Watson still putting the gap on Austin Fitzgerald. It is slowing down, but I think at this point, unless he makes any major mistakes, I don't know if that 74 would have enough time to catch back up, even if he were to start closing the gap. But we have seen crazier things happen here so far in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Let's go back to some of these battles. It looks like Nicholas Isaacs is leading. He is in fourth, but Carl Dotson has got a little bit of a mess right here, as he's going to be racing with Scott Naslund and Brian Watson. And those two are going to battle right now for sixth place. Looks like Brian Watson is going to win that battle. The 27 of Jeff Shutt is going to try to sneak by as well. Sean Kaltenbach currently ninth. He has recovered nicely after falling pretty far back towards the middle of the race. Jeff Marble, the last car in the top 10 with his teammate Tyler Marble, who showed some speed early, has fallen back since. They're going to go by the 21 of Cody James here in just a moment. It is 17 laps to go here at Phoenix. The 37, Brian Conklin. 48 tried to throw a block, but those two are teammates, so they will be able to be nice to each other about it. He's going to get on that low line, but looks like the high side's working a little bit here. You'll see Brian Conklin continue. He's going to drop low. No, he doesn't. Wow, that was sort of an interesting move right there. You actually saw Tyler was the one that dropped low. Further back, Danny Gutierrez. Johnny McCulcheck trying to get by Tracy Powers. Maybe was thinking about if he could have got a little bit of a better restart, getting his lap back the hard way, but Andrew Kotska back here in 20th. I haven't said anything about today. That's another one of the Mad Sim Racing drivers. Not having the best day, but nonetheless, I mean, he's up 8 spots from where he started. Anytime you can go positive from where you started to where you finished, you can't really call it a terrible day. Todd Shiro, the driver out of Scottsville, he is currently in 7th. He sees a little bit of a loose Ryan Shiro just in front of him in the 20 car. And Brian Curry, who we saw fast early as well, made some contact with the wall. Did get a caution, but unfortunately just way too late. The deficit that he had lost was unrecoverable by then, and now the thing that Austin Fitzgerald so much didn't want to see on that last run is what Joshua Watson certainly doesn't want to see on this run, and that is a caution. So if we get a caution now, anybody that has tires is going in and taking them. And anybody that already took their tires is staying out. It's going to invert the field, put some of these leaders on fresh tires, while put some of the guys that haven't had a chance to lead up front. And Tracy Powers continues to fall from Austin Fitzgerald, who continues to fall from Joshua Watson. but they are still your top 3. The 9, Nicholas Isaacs, he has picked up some speed here, and he is looking to see if he can get around the 25, as Johnny McCulchuk has. That is a lap car, though. And the 9 is going to give it to the back bumper. You see, earlier we saw some guys maybe running the low lane with a little bit of an arc. As this race has progressed, that arc and middle lane have really come in, and that has been almost the preferred lane that we've seen since then. Carl Dotson up inside the top 5. Really, really nice recovery after spinning that last time. I thought maybe you have to waste a set of tires and wouldn't be able to recover. Had to go to the back potentially, but had no issues with it. Jeff Shutt as well, up 16 spots. Had somebody come in here rooting for him earlier. And heck of a run so far, up inside the top 10, just outside the top 5. Sean Kaltenbach, Scott Naisland, those two are the last couple rounding out the top 10. It looks like Kyle Oakley has fallen a couple more laps down. Right now, we do have 17 cars on the lead lap. We did start with just a couple over 30. And let's take a look at a couple things here. First thing is going to be lap time for your leader, Joshua Watson. You see it there, the last two, 29.2 and a 29.1. Compare that to your second place runner. And we see a 29.2 as well and a 29.2. So he's not a lot slower, but he's just a little bit. And he would just really need to start closing that gap now to have a chance. I just don't think there's enough time. We'll look at the dashboard as well one more time and see the different things here. And you see now, as they are on the earlier run of a start, Joshua Watson has been going into 5th gear. As DuPont says, let's go Papa Shut. And he goes down to 4th through 1 and 2. He's going to get back up to 5th right here. And then back down to 4th. Compare that to Austin Fitzgerald. Oh, and actually, he is trying some things here. So if you think these guys are maybe just going to walk over and hand it, they don't, because you see it here. He's changed up the way he's doing things, and he is now trying downshifting. And does it look like he's going to here? The thing that worries me a little bit about this is I think maybe the 74 used up his stuff a little too much, trying ever so hard to get around that 01 after he got by him, because we didn't see Austin shifting at all earlier in the race, and it seemed to be working out well. I'm not sure, maybe he did just slip up in that last corner, and that's why he moved down to 4th. But sometimes you get in your own head, you start to think, maybe I'm not doing something he's doing. You forget to run the line that you've been running so well all day. I mean, that thing is just not turning right now. The tires are hurting. You can hear him squealing a little bit. And I think now, at a certain point, he's just got to be thinking, man, what if that caution would have came out, and just hoping that they can finish this thing off where it is. Nicholas Isaacs, boy, he has made a strong, his presence well known, at least here late in the going, as he has moved up into that last podium spot. Up 3 spots from where he started in 3rd, but he didn't make much noise throughout the day until late in the run here. Jeff Shutt now up to 4th. And Tracy Powers has moved back to 5th. He's another driver that might have got a little aggressive too early on this last restart. Power Esports driver Carl Dotson back to 6th. Sean Kaltenbach 7th. Scott Naisland 8th. Brian Watson 9th. And Jeff Marble rounding out the top 10. We'll go up to your top 20. And then after that, that will be the last time we run that running order until we get to the finish. Bill Benedict 11th. Tyler Marble 12th. Cody Richardson 13th. Brian Conklin 14th. Andrew Nieder, it's going to be 15th. Danny Gutierrez, Daytona winner 16th. Jared Bundy 17th. Johnny McCulchuk 18th, Cody James 19th, and Richard Elliott, the last car inside that top 20 right now. Joshua Watson, at this point, he can put it on cruise control. He is setting that Chevy Camaro to ride all the way to the finish, bearing nothing crazy. He is still going to have to be a little careful around some of these lappers. The first one he's going to have to get around here is going to be Kyle Oakley, and then it'll set his sights on Ryan Shiro. And looking on the track map right there, it looks like at most he maybe will encounter a couple more lappers after he gets by Ryan Shiro. That is at most. But I still don't know if he'll catch both of those lappers or not. Or these guys at this point in the race not going to give any contention to that 01. I know there's sometimes this thing about you want to stay on the lead lap in case there's a caution. At this point in the race, as clean as these guys are, you don't want to cause anything that might cost that leader his races. He has really started stretching it out now over 3.5 seconds. Or sorry, just about 3.5 seconds. Nicholas Isaacs not really caught up to Austin Fitzgerald just yet either. And he still has 2.5 seconds to go if he wants to try to get second. I don't think he's going to have enough time to do that. But 3 laps to go here at Phoenix. And Brian Watson, or sorry, excuse me, Joshua Watson continues to lead. JBR E-Racing, I mean, we talked about it. I know you guys aren't in the Discord, but I wrote in the Discord for these guys. I said, will they be able to go back-to-back? But JBR E-Racing in general, of course, being led right now by Joshua Watson, but it's just been so dominant recently. Brian Watson, though, we saw him up on this last restart. I'm not sure something must happen here. He's fallen back to 16th. Oh, and still falling. Back to 17th. Oh, wow. He's actually off track. Yikes. Not sure what happened to Brian Watson. Not sure if it was an internet issue or what, but 2 to go. This was the last lap for a chance at a caution. Joshua Watson is just wanting to make it through 2 more corners to grab that white flag, and then he says, guys, you can wreck all you want. Just keep it behind me. He used his tires wisely. He made the fuel run. White flag is in the air one more time around for the 0-1 of Joshua Watson. And right now he is just making sure to be extra conservative through all these turns. He will not be on that throttle until that thing is fully straight, and he is going to make sure those tires are linked up. But here we go down the backstretch for the final time at Phoenix. Here he comes into turns 3 and 4. Out of turn 4, Joshua Watson is going to win it at Phoenix. How about the performance from the 0-1? And he is going to burn it down. We'll hear from him. Congratulations to your race winner, Joshua Watson. '22nd, Ryan Shiro. 23rd is going to be Dave Sanders. 24th, Glenn Grigsby. 25th, Brian Watson. 26th, Patrick Steen. 27th, Cody Matthews. 28th, Alan Pajari. 29th, Andrew Kotska. 30th, Kyle Oakley. And 31st, Andy Tico. 32nd, Matthew Gearinger. 33rd, Jeffrey Souza. And 34th, the driver did not start tonight, Cody Graham. We are going to go get your top 3 for interviews. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, and we're going to start first with your third place finisher, and that is going to be Nicholas Isaacs. Nicholas, you got a copy?
I'm here.
Let me turn you up a little bit. I'll tell you what, man, it's kind of like you came out of nowhere there towards the end, but you had found a lot of speed in the 9 car. Tell us about your day and how you found so much speed there at the end.
Well, I missed the start, first of all. Luckily, those cautions came out, and I was able to, stay on the lead lap right at the beginning, and then just ran through the field, tried to pace myself. Just went through there and tried to keep it as clean as I could. Went ahead and pitted. I think I was like kind of maybe the second or third car to pit. Came through the field again, and right there at the last minute, I decided to pit again. Then I guess a caution came out, which I was, or I had pitted and then a caution came out, but I went ahead and pitted because I was in fourth, and I knew that I had already had some laps on my tires. I wasn't going to make it. I was going to fall back, so I went ahead and pitted after that, and then went to the rear again, came back up, got slammed into the wall, thought I was done. Then just was able to finish it off and come through the field. I didn't have anything for Josh and Austin, so congrats on them.
Well, it was a good run nonetheless. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
I'd like to give a shout out to Carl Dotson for introducing this league to me. And then I'd like to give a shout out to my builder, Michael Conti, and all the guys over at EPI. And I'll give a shout out to you too for what you do on the broadcast.
Well, thank you, man. Congratulations on your third place finish. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's your third place finisher, Nicholas Isaac Flex. Let's move on to the heartbreak story. The man that finished second tonight, Austin Fitzgerald. Austin, you got a copy?
Yeah, you got me?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man. I know you're probably not too happy right now, but you definitely had the best car of the day. What were you thinking when that caution came out?
Well, honestly, I know Scott was coming, but I definitely think my chances would have been higher if that caution were to come out. Yeah, just the super long runs is what was working for me. So I knew it was going to be tough. And Josh, I had nothing for him at the end there. I mean, he passed me, and I didn't. I tried not to let it get in my head, and I tried to just save my tires. But man, I tried to turn it on after about 15 laps to go, and I couldn't catch him. He was just fast there at the end.
Well, it was still a good run nonetheless, and you'll have a lot of momentum to take with you next time we're here for the championship race. Congratulations on the second place finish. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, first off, Jeff and Tyler for putting on this league. Honestly, I look forward to racing this league 100 times more than I look forward to racing any official stuff. Secondly, I got to thank my wife. It takes a lot of commitment from her because we have 2 little girls, and sometimes I sit in my rig practicing for hours on end. So it takes a lot of commitment from her just to, give me the opportunity to do this. And then third, my sponsor, Acoustic Design Systems. If you're in the Las Vegas area, you need any audio video needs, check out acousticdesignlv.com. And yeah, that's it.
All right, well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, your second place driver, the man out of Las Vegas, Austin Fitzgerald. And now we will move on to your winner tonight. First place finisher, Joshua Watson. Joshua, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, bud.
Well, it seems like I'm getting more and more used to talking to you, man. You have been on fire since we have started the season so far. What did you do there on that last restart that all of a sudden made you so much faster than the 74?
I don't know if it was so much to restart. We were making changes all night on the car. We didn't get a very good qualifying effort there, and we had tried to make a change for being back in traffic, and it worked. But as soon as we got up to the front, tires were kind of gone. So we were trying pitch strategy, tried another adjustment to help free it up, went too far, or actually tighten it up, went too far, and it actually made it kind of like a snappy loose on exit. So we freed it back up, and I think that's what did it. We didn't really push there those 11 or so laps before that caution come out, and I knew if I could just get out in clean air, I had a good chance. Austin was fast all night, and I just felt like if I could get the clean air, that was going to be key, especially with this car. Clean air is a lot, and with this track being very slick and slippery with the heat and everything, I felt like I had a good chance to be able to hold him off. So I just want to, say a great run to him and Nick and everybody It was a fun race. There were some cautions that mixed some things up. I will say I think Austin did have the better car, especially long run wise, but just happy to be able to take advantage of strategy and that caution there at the end to be able to come out on top.
All right. Well, congratulations. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
As always, everybody from my team at JBRE Racing. Forget people tonight. Hoyt, Moultrie, Palomir, Mayer Brothers, Ryko for the awesome setups. Especially this week, the setup's been really good. All my family, all my friends for their support. Jeff and Tyler for putting on this league. You for the awesome broadcasts. Always go back and watch them the next day or two afterwards, and they're always a big enjoyment to watch. So thank you to you, and probably forgetting everybody. I'm a little shocked by this win, but just happy to have the start we had and hoping to keep it rolling here.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys can continue the momentum over at JBRE Racing. Thank you, man. And congratulations on your first place win.
Thank you.
All right. Now that we've gotten interviews with your top three, we went over the finishing results, so that should just about wrap it up. Don't forget, next week we head over to what some call Hot Atlanta. It is going to be Atlanta Motor Speedway Mini Daytona, and you're not going to miss that one. It is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. There will be wrecks, and we might even see a photo finish. It's going to be 130 laps. After that, we go to Texas, and then we'll be back to a short track at Richmond on April 3rd. Joshua Watson led the points coming in tonight. You better believe he will be leading going out. Alan Pajari second. He might fall a little bit. We'll see how the rest of the points shake out next time. That's all for me, the Green Ghost, here on Ghost Racing Network. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.